Section 1.3, Solving Equations. Example 1, write an algebraic expression that represents each verbal expression. 2 more than 4 times the cube of a number. Anytime you see the word more than or less than, you flip the order that it is written. So what goes in front of the word more than goes after the plus sign. So where it says 2 more than, that means something plus 4. Something plus 2. 4 times the cube of a number, that's 4 times x to the third power, and that goes in front. Example B. The quotient of 5 less than a number and 12. Quotient means to divide, so what you read first goes in the numerator, and what you read after the word and goes in the denominator. 5 less than, that means we put x minus 5 and then divide it by 12. Example C, the cube of a number increased by 4 times the same number. Cube of a number is x to the third power. Now, keep in mind that you can use any variable. You don't necessarily have to use x. Increased by 4 times the same number. Example D, 3 times the difference of a number and 8. Difference of a number would be x minus 8. And then we have to multiply 3 times all of that stuff. So we're going to have to put all that stuff in parentheses and put a 3 in front of it. Example 2, write an equation. The product of 6 and a number is 72. Product means to multiply, so that would be 6 times x is equal to 72. Example B, the sum of a number and 15 is 91. Sum means to add, so x plus 15 stands for equal 91. Example C, twice a number is the same number squared by minus 4. Twice a number would be 2x. Is the same, stands for equals the same number, so that means the same variable, minus 4. Oh, don't forget you have to square it. Example 4, we're going to solve and check. Our goal is to get n by itself, so we have to do the opposite. So we're going to add 3.24 to both sides. Remember to line up your decimals when you're adding decimals. To check, you write the original problem, and then I call this the T-bar check, where you kind of make looks like a T sign, and you just plug in what n is, and if the left side equals the right side, then you know it checks. Example B, negative 5/8 x is equal to 20. When you have a fraction times a variable, you want to get rid of that fraction by multiplying both sides by the reciprocal. The reciprocal is negative 8/5. Don't forget, it's not the opposite sign. It's always the multiplicative inverse is always the exact same sign, and you just flip the fraction. I'm going to turn the 20 into over 1 and multiply both sides by negative 8/5. And then you're going to cross reduce. On the left side, the 5's go away, and the negatives go away, and the 8's go away. So you get x. On the right side, you're going to cross reduce. 5 goes into 5 one time. 5 goes into 24 times. Multiply, and you get negative 32. Technically, it's negative 32 over 1, but when you have a denominator as 1, you don't need to write it. To check, you just plug in negative 32 where you see x. Left side equals the right side, so it checks. Now you try to do example C. Example 5, we're first going to have to do the distributive property. combine like terms on the left side. I'm going to combine the 5x and the negative 2x. Then I'm going to combine the 15 and the 2. Now I'm going to start solving. So I'm going to subtract 17 on both sides and divide by 3, and you get x equals negative 1. Now I'm going to check it on this side. So you write the original problem, and wherever you see x, you're going to plug in negative 1. And then you're going to simplify on the left side using the order of operations. Order of operations on the left side, I'm going to simplify my parentheses. And I'm going to multiply and then add. And on the left side, I get 14 equals 14, so it checks. Example 5b. I'm going to do the distributive property. Combine like terms. Now I'm going to start moving stuff from one side of the equal sign to the other. I'm going to add 6 on both sides, divide by 2, and I get x equals 6. Example 6, area of a trapezoid. The area of a trapezoid is A equals 1/2 h times b1 plus b2. And we are going to solve for b sub 2. First, what we're going to do is we have to get rid of that fraction of 1/2. To get rid of that fraction, we're going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal, 2 over 1. But because 1 is the denominator, we're just going to say 2. We get 2a equals h parentheses b1 plus b2. Now we have to get rid of that h, so I'm going to divide both sides by h. Now once that I have the parentheses by itself, I don't have to write the parentheses anymore. Now my goal is to get b2 by itself, so I am adding the b sub 1, so I'm going to subtract b sub 1 on both sides. These are also known as literal equations. You're going to see this in your physics class, so I am doing several of these. This is where kids really struggle when you have multiple variables and you have to solve for one variable in particular. And in this problem, we are solving for h. So we just have to subtract the 2 pi r squared from both sides, and then we have to divide everything by 2 pi r. Now these take several times to practice on. I would highly recommend you work in these problems several times to where you'll get the feel for it. Here's number 39. I'm going to do it. You try to do it, then turn on the video and see if your work looks like mine. Here's number 41 now. This one you have to do the distributive property, and you have to multiply 2/3 times 6c. I'm going to go to the side and multiply 2/3 times 6 over 1. Cross reduce, and you get 4c. If you can do this in your head as you go, great. If not, go to the side and multiply fractions. Combine like terms. Here's some literal equations that came from a physics worksheet. I'm working a few of them for you. In this particular problem, it's an equation. So we want to multiply each term by the least common denominator. The least common denominator is every single one of your denominators. The f, the d sub 1, and the d sub o. So I'm going to multiply each term by f, d sub 1, d sub o. Then I cross reduce. The f's cancel. So I get d sub 1 times d sub o is equal to, the d's cancel, get f d sub o, and then the d sub o cancels and you get f d sub 1. Once again, we're solving for f. On the right side, if you'll notice, there's an f in each term. So I'm going to factor out the common factor of f. I'm going to pull it out, just factoring it out. Then I'm going to divide by that whole parentheses. And there you go. You have f by itself. Here's a few more problems. We want to solve for r. So we had to multiply both sides by r because r is in the denominator. We need r to be in the numerator. So we're going to multiply both sides by r. Now we have to divide everything by a sub c. Okay, our goal is to solve for, I think that says g. So we're going to subtract the v sub yt from both sides. Now we're solving for g, so we're going to have to first get rid of that 1/2. So we're going to multiply both sides by the reciprocal, which is 2. Now notice on the left side, it has 2 terms. So we're going to have to multiply 2 times both of those terms. So I'm going to close those 2 terms in parentheses and then do the distributive property. Be careful about this. This is where people make their mistake. And then I'm going to divide both sides by t sub 2. Now, you could have divided each term on the left side by t sub 2, and it could also look like this. That is the same thing as that. Try to do this problem by yourself. And we are solving for h. So try it, turn the video on, and then see if your answer looks like mine. And that is the end of this section.